Hey everyone. All right, today we're going to talk about something every guitar player runs into, hitting that dreaded wall. We're going to break down that's right, 7 essential techniques that'll take your playing from just good to great and give you that pro sound you've been chasing.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You've put in the time. You know your open chords, you can wrestle a bar chord into submission, maybe you've even got a scale or two under your belt, but when you actually play, something's missing. It just doesn't have that magic, that polish you hear from all your heroes.
So, what's the secret to finally breaking through that plateau? Well, here's the thing. It's not about learning more stuff. It's about playing what you already know better. The real key is mastering those little expressive techniques that make the notes you're playing actually come alive. We're talking about feel, emotion, and dynamics.
All right, first up, let's dive into making your melodies really sing. We're talking about the techniques for expression, the stuff that's going to make your solos and melodies just weep and scream and sing with some real character.
Okay, let's talk hammer-ons and pull-offs. This is the absolute core of what we call legato playing. Basically, instead of picking every single note, you're creating this super smooth, fluid sound just with your fretting hand. A hammer-on is exactly what it sounds like. You pick one note, then bam, you hammer another finger down on a higher fret. A pull-off is the opposite. You fret 2 notes, pick the higher one, and then kind of flick or pull that finger off to let the lower note ring out. This is the secret sauce for those lightning-fast, liquid-smooth runs you hear everywhere.
Oh man, string bending. Look, if there is one technique that just screams rock and blues guitar, this is it. Bending a string is pure, raw emotion. It's literally the guitar equivalent of a singer's voice just cracking with feeling. It is how you make this thing cry. So, let's break down the art of the bend. The absolute key here is support. Please, never try to bend with just one lonely finger. You're going to have a bad time. Use 2 or even 3 fingers behind it for strength and control. But here's the most important part. You have to listen. You're not just pushing the string randomly. You're bending to a specific target pitch. A great trick is to play that target note first, so your ear knows exactly where you're aiming.
This quote absolutely nails it. Vibrato is the secret to making notes sing with personality. Think about it. A note without vibrato is just a beep. It's a sound. But a note with vibrato, now it has a voice. It's that subtle, shimmering wobble that keeps a note alive and kicking while it sustains, just full of character.
And there are a few different flavors of vibrato. You've got your big, wide wrist vibrato. That's that classic, dramatic rock and roll sound. Then there's finger vibrato, which is more like a series of tiny controlled bends, really quick and precise. And you've also got classical vibrato, which is this really subtle side-to-side motion. But no matter which one you use, the goal is always the same: control. You want a nice, even pulse, not a nervous, shaky mess. All right, let's talk about slides. These are probably your easiest ticket to creating those smooth, kind of greasy-sounding transitions. The idea is so simple, right? You just slide your finger from one fret to another without lifting it off the string. But man, it adds so much flow to your riffs and solos. Sliding up a string really builds energy and tension, while sliding down can feel like a nice, smooth release.
Okay, so we've talked about making melodies sing. Now let's switch gears and power up your rhythm playing. Because let's be real, a truly great guitarist isn't just about flashy solos. They have to have a rock-solid foundation and incredible sense of groove.
And this brings us to palm muting. This is the secret weapon for tight, punchy, percussive rhythm guitar. All you're doing is lightly resting the side of your picking hand, that fleshy part, on the strings, right down by the bridge. This dampens the sound, cutting off the sustain and giving you this really sharp attack. The key is finding that sweet spot. Move your hand closer to the bridge, you get a little more tone. Move it further away, and it gets more muted and tight.
And what sound does that make? This one, the chug. That iconic, driving chugga-chugga sound you hear in pretty much all rock and metal. That is 100% palm muting. It is the absolute engine room of heavy music. It turns your guitar from a melody instrument into a rhythmic weapon.
Speaking of legendary sounds, let's talk about a technique made famous by the one and only Jimi Hendrix. This little trick completely changes how you can approach playing chords. It's not just about hitting the right notes, it's about unlocking a whole new world of creative flair and freedom.
So here's the Hendrix chord technique. You actually wrap your thumb over the top of the neck to fret the bass note on that low E string. Now, why would you do that?
Well, here's the magic. It frees up your other fingers, especially your pinky. Suddenly you can add little melodic fills, hammer-ons, and all kinds of cool embellishments while you're holding down the chord. It turns a static rhythm part into something really funky and dynamic.
All right, time for a simple trick that will expand your chord vocabulary in a huge way. What if I told you that you probably already know dozens of chords that you've just never played before? This next idea is a super simple but really powerful way to unlock the entire fretboard.
Okay, to start, just picture a chord you know really well. Let's take a simple, familiar open A chord shape.
Now here's the trick. Don't change your finger placement at all. Just keep that exact same shape and slide the whole thing up the neck.
And bam, you've just discovered a brand new chord. If you slide that A shape up so your first finger is at the 5th fret, you're now playing a D chord. It's a totally new sound, a different voicing, but you didn't have to learn a single new shape. You can do this with pretty much any open chord shape to find new chords all over the neck. It's a total game changer.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of cool techniques, the what. But now let's get real and talk about the how. Because, knowing the stuff is one thing, but actually mastering it, that takes a smart approach to practice. This is how you really make it stick.
So here's your practice toolkit. First, please use a metronome. It might not be the most fun thing in the world, but it's non-negotiable for building killer timing. Second, always start slow. Speed will come naturally once your technique is clean. Third, try to work one or two of these new techniques into songs you already play. And finally, just remember that consistency beats perfection every time. 10 focused minutes a day is way better than cramming for 2 hours on a Sunday.
And hey, one last super practical tip. If your guitar just feels hard to play, if you're struggling with bends or your fingers are always sore, don't just assume you need to tough it out. Your instrument might actually be fighting you. Seriously, consider trying some lighter strings or taking it to a shop for professional setup. It can make a world of difference and make practicing fun instead of a chore. So there you have it. 7 killer techniques to help you start sounding like a pro, like right now. That path from the intermediate plateau to being an expressive, confident player, it's paved with this stuff. The only real question left is, which technique are you going to master first?